The Speedo Pure Velour was the most used tech suit across individual finals at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. In fact, every single final from the men's 50 free to the women's 1500 featured at least one of these suits, and in some occasions, especially on the women's side, 5 or 6 of the athletes would be wearing a Pure Velour. This is the most used tech suit I've seen at any individual meet since the Laser Racer in 2008 or the Arena X Glide in 2009. It really is a domination. And I've come to this conclusion because I spent all morning delving into the rabbit hole and recording what every single swimmer in every single final, what tech suit they wore. And if you want to see all that data, I've made a spreadsheet which you can find in the description of this video. I am, of course, the swimsuit guy, an international swim coach, an active masters swimmer, and a massive geek and enthusiast when it comes to tech suits, which is why I've made this video today. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoy this particular video, hit the like button. And I want to know what your favorite tech suit is before I talk about all the tech suits that were used at the Olympics. Now, the first thing I want to talk about today is why might an athlete wear a tech suit at the Olympic Games? And of course, I'm only looking at individual finals. I'm not looking at relays. I'm not looking at semis or heats because there'd have been too much data to try and collect. But the first reason an athlete might wear a tech suit, so like Sarah here or Kaylee McEwen here, is because they're sponsored by the company, the suit brand. So Sarah's sponsored by Arena. Kaylee is sponsored by Speedo. That means they are locked into using an option from that brand. They can't use any other brand, but they can use the options that that brand have on offer. So take Katie, for example, she can choose between the Pure Intent and the Pure Valor. They have 2 options. Arena, for example, Sarah could pick the Primo, the Core FX, the Glide, or the Air Squared. She gets 4 options. The next reason is that they might have a federation that is sponsored by a company. So take Kaylee again, Australia are sponsored by Speedo. That means by getting onto the Australian Olympic team, you'll get your team kit, which will come with some Speedo race suits of your choice. Again, the Intent or the Valor. And if you're not sponsored by Speedo, but you're on the Australian team, you'll get an option of them suits. If you want to wear another suit, you will have to black out the logo and source it yourself, be it because they're your sponsor or because you're going to buy the suit because you like it so much. And the third option is that you have no sponsor or no national obligation, and you can just wear whatever suit you want to, and you can go and source it yourself. That happens very minimally at an Olympic final level. And one occasion where it did happen was in the men's 50 free final. Jordan Crooks, he chose to wear the Mizuno GX Sonic 5 ST because he has no obligation to wear any suit, and he chose to wear that suit. But for the most part, most of these athletes are tied into a specific brand. And I didn't actually run the numbers on how many of them are tied into, because it's really hard to know if they've got like a micro contract. You can be sponsored on so many levels. So you could be someone like Sarah, who's one of Arena's flagship athletes, or you could be one of their national athletes, which means you have a contract to not wear other suits, but you just get free kit from them, from like the retailer in your country. So it's really hard to see who's tied in or not. So I didn't want to do stats on that in case I got things wrong. But for the most part, you can almost assume that every athlete in a final at the Olympics is probably, I'd say 90 to 95% will have an obligation to wear a suit, in which case they're only picking between the brands. So with that in mind, here are some learnings I made. And the first learning I want to share with you is that the Speedo Pure Intent, the Laser Racer Fast Skin Pure Intent 2.0, it sucks. And I think it sucks. If I was to review this suit, I would tell you that I think it sucks. But the stats also confirm that it sucks, because in the Olympic finals in Paris, 102 athletes chose to wear a Speedo suit. 93 of them were a Pure Valor. One of them was the Japanese Pure Glint, which is the Japanese Valor. So let's say 94 were basically a Valor, which left 8 suits to be one of the Intents. 7 of them were the Intent 2.0, and 1 was a random, just standard Pure Intent, which was worn by Tang when she got the silver medal in the 100 breaststroke, which basically means under 10% of Speedo obligated athletes wanted to wear the Pure Intent 2.0. They would rather wear the Pure Valor. And the Pure Valor is a very basic suit. You can check out my review, or the Pure Valor 2.0. It's just a light, papery, comfy suit. I can get it on in 5 seconds. It feels good. It does a good job. No bells and whistles. It is just like the most bog standard, solid tech suit. The intent is meant to be a sprint suit, but all their athletes, the sprinters included, would rather wear the Pure Valor. That's how bad the Pure intent is. And that's why the Pure Valor dominated the usage numbers. 93 athletes in a final wore a Pure Valor. In second was the Arena Primo, tied with the Arena Air Squared, and in fourth was the Arena Carbon Glide. Now, the reason that the Valor dominated by so much, 93 to 26, is because Arena, their athletes, used the whole range. So, while Speedo did have 102 uses to Arena's 75, of them 75, there were 6 different suits. Both Arena International's full range of 4 suits, plus the 2 Arena Japan models. 6 different Arena suits, used very spread outly. As I said, 26 Primos, 26 Air Squareds, 15 Glides, 2 Core FXs, 2 control positions, and I think there was 4 or 5 motion frees. What Arena have done is they've created a line of race suits that work for different people. They cater for their athletes. They've made a suit that could work for anyone. They're not just saying, like Speedo is basically, we've got a Pure Valor and our intent sucks, so don't wear it. They're saying, hey, what do you want to wear? What do you like? Do you like compression and taping? Do you want to give a go to the amazing Arena Primo? Or do you like a bit of comfort and lightness? Go for the Air. Or do you like something a bit different? Go for the Glide, a thicker suit. And what I will say is, with that information, is that the Primo was by far the most chosen Arena men's suit. So the Arena was worn by 24 men and just 2 women. The Air Squared was worn by a balance, 14 men and 12 women. And then the Glide was like the opposite of the Primo, the comfy suit. The Glide was worn by 2 men, one of them an athlete I coach, Craig Ozerk, he loves the Glide, and 13 women. I think that's absolutely bizarre. Air Square in the middle, and that's like their Valor, the comfy one. And then their specialist suits are the Primo, which works more for the men, and the Glide, which works more for the women. That being said, the only woman wears of this suit was Sarah Sjostrom, and she won 2 gold medals in it. So the only woman to wear an Arena Primo in a final won 2 golds. Statistically, no woman wore an Arena Primo in a final and didn't win the race. There you go, Arena. Use that. That's a fact. That's an actual fact. The next bit of information I can gather is that the women lent to the comfier suits. So here are the most used women's suits: Carbon Glide, Pure Valor, Air Squared, Invicta. They're all the comfy suits that brands do. There was very small usage for the Venzo, which is a less comfy tier suit, the Primo. There was 0 Mizunos worn on the women's side. I think that's a crazy stat. There was 14 men Mizunos, 0 women's Mizunos. So, whereas the men used a range of suits for different events, the women lent towards the comfy suits. And this is something that I've always but this is something I've always had a feeling about. Coaching girls and women, they always prefer the comfy suits, ones they get on easily, ones that have nice shoulders, good range of movements. They don't like the tighter, more compressive, more snappy sprint suits like the Mizunos, and that's why no women wore a Mizuno in a final. If you look at relays, Rikako Iki was in a final and she did wear a Mizuno, but as I said, I'm not doing relays. The next is there was a lack of small companies on offer. So again, there was 15 different suits worn on the men's side, 15 unique suits. There was 10 different suit companies in finalists and 5 different suit companies when it comes to medalists. The 5 medalist suit companies were Speedo with 37 medals, Arena with 28 medals, Tier with 11 medals, Mizuno with 5 medals, and Finis with 4 medals. The 5 suit brands that were in finals but did not make a medal was Jacket. I say 5, it's 3. There was 8 companies. Why am I saying 5? It was Jacket, who had 3 final wears, all from Alberto Rossetti wearing the J-Comp suit. We had Aquasphere with 2 wears, both from David Aubrey, who wears their new Blast Ultra, a suit I've not worn and I want to try out. So Aquasphere, if you're watching this, I want to review that suit. And finally, Funkita, who had one wear of their Apex suit. I think Funkita's men's version, Funky Trunks, did have one male semi-finalist with Ben Armbruster as well. So a little shout out, they did have 2 semi-finalists. And there we go. That's my sort of findings from the Olympic Games. Speedo Pure Valor dominated just because Speedo athletes didn't want to wear Pure Intent. Speedo do have to up their game when it comes to a sprint tech suit. They are really falling behind and basically not giving their athletes any other options, and their sprinters are having to wear Pure Valor. Oh, one little fun fact actually, the one sprint guy who did wear a Pure Intent was Pan Janley, and he went 46.4, so there we go. Beyond that, the stats say that men lean towards Arena, but I think that's because the European men did better than the American Australian men, and they generally wear more Italian brands, Arena. And the women generally lent towards Speedo, but that's because the best women are Australian and Canadian, who are both sponsored teams by Speedo. What I do find crazy is that such an advanced tech suit such as the Mizuno doesn't have more wear. Like, even with how great Mizuno tech suits are, they still can't even get close to competing with Arena and Speedo. And Tier are on a big downfall. I'm actually shocked how far Tier are now behind Arena and Speedo on the numbers. The last thing I will say is I'm surprised that world-class athletes don't put more thought and time into what tech suits they wear, especially with all these Pure Valors. Pure Valor, if you're racing 400 and above, I get it, makes sense, or even a 200. But for anyone wearing a Pure Valor for 50 and 100, I think you can find a better tech suit. But I guess if you're tied into Speedo, I don't know what I would do. I hate the Pure Intent. I think I would probably race a 53 in a Valor as well. So I guess that's it. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to see more content, tech suit related, training related, competition vlogs, all sorts of cool stuff. Now we're getting full back in the swing of things with this season. And if you want to check out my website, www.TheSwimsuitGuy.co.uk, I have a range of great merch. You can get these awesome race caps. These are the fastest caps in the world. Check them out, look at that. Arena Aquaforce 3D caps. They've got the ripple on the top, black with my logo and gold. Super, super cool. And I also have some online training programs for anyone. If you're getting back to swimming in September and you don't have a coach or don't have a training program, I do subscriptions. I have PDFs. Check them out. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.